and then preparing live. So I just want to see, give me 1 second. Let's make sure we're going live in the group.
It's all good.
Hold on 1 second. Yeah, I'm not sure what technology is doing with me. It's asking me to up level even more, so that's fine. It's fine.
Be with the moment.
Okay, so it looks like we're live on Facebook. So morning, everybody, and I apologize for the tech issues, but you got to go with it and roll with it. So thank you, everybody, for joining me. Today is day 63 of 100 Days of Self-Love, and today I want to talk about food. I am a foodie. I love all kinds of food. I wish I didn't love it as much as I do. I've been working on that. But today I wanted to bring on Hemali and have her share some tips about nutrition, because that's what you help people with. So Hemali, can you first introduce yourself to the people in the group and let them know who you are and who you serve?
Hi, everyone. Good morning. My name is Hemali, and that's a little bit what I do. I'm a physical therapist, and I added on body energy work. So I do Reiki. I'm a Reiki master teacher. I'm also a holistic nutrition coach. So I kind of bring that movement, nutrition, so eating, and then the energy work. We need all that to release, right? Everything. We're this whole person, and we have all these emotions and things. So we need things to kind of integrate and move things when especially when we're doing healing work.
Yeah, you can't do the physical without doing all the other things. We try, and most people are like, just fix the physical, but
Right?
you
No,
have to look at the energy. You have to look at the emotions.
exactly.
And there's so much emotion in our food. So can you talk a little bit about that? And why is that?
I feel that, I know when I started, and I'm just going to go a little bit back, but when I, of course, as a physical therapist, I was like, oh, exercise, and that will solve everything. You lose weight, and then that will, because I used to see people with total hip, total knee, and then the recurrent strokes, recurrent heart issues and things like that. I worked at the hospitals, and arthritis and things like, oh, just exercise through it, or go with arthritis, go exercise in the water. How naive of me, right? But the nutrition part I added on because my kids had issues. They had severe asthma, and I'm saying had, right? Because once I joined the program, and I started changing and shifting things in the house. So not only did I add exercise, my daughter, I started sending her to swimming because that expands and strengthens her lungs. And that really worked for her. Now my son is different, and the swimming didn't really help him because then he started having sinus issues and things. But what I also did was every product that we used, I just threw away, and I started looking into the chemicals that were in things and the colors in the food, and the pesticides in the foods and things. So, that's why. And I think the emotions and the energies you were talking about, it's like from the beginning, why do we pray on the food? And every culture does that. Whether you want to believe it or not, every culture prays before they eat, and they give thanks to the nature. They give thanks to the person who's, produced the food and things. So it's like every person's energy is in that one seed, in that one plant, or if you are a meat eater, then it's in that meat. The energy is there. So so when you're cooking, what are your thoughts? What are you thinking? And when you're eating, what are your thoughts? It's like oh my God, I shouldn't be eating this. Oh, this is going to put on like 10 pounds on me and all these things. Eat, enjoy. You love food, eat.
Yes.
It's all about portion, and it's all about just enjoy, be in that moment if that's what you choose. It's like we all know how to heal ourselves, right? Um, we all have the ability, and the same thing goes with food. We know what's right for us, what's not.
Yeah.
There are some minute things where, personally, um, I know that certain things causes inflammation in my body,
Mhm.
but those are my favorite things. And so why do you crave those things, right? Because that inflammation wants the food.
Yeah.
And I mean, I still love tomatoes. I mean, that's just one example, right?
I'm
And
Italian, tomatoes, zucchini, cucumbers. I was recently introduced to Plant Paradox cookbook. I
mm,
think it's all the leptins they take out, right? And I'm like, that's what I'm eating.
yeah. So yes, someone told me about nightshades, right? And so I figured that so eggplant is one of my favorite.
Oh, I love eggplant. Yeah.
Tomatoes, and I'll bring crates of tomatoes, and I'll put like even if there is no need for tomato, I'll put tomato in that. The vegetables and stuff. And I was like, so something to think about. And,
Mm,
something to, so some of those things like for fibromyalgia, arthritis, all these pain causing, right? What happens when
yes.
you have inflammation? It creates pain wherever because the joints are inflamed. And so that, and then, a tamarind is something that Indian people use in a lot of things, especially South Indian food, and I'm married to one, and I know that it causes systemic inflammation. I am
Mm,
swollen the next day,
yeah.
face and everything, and so. But that was one of I mean, the favorite food. It's like that was the main ingredient in these foods, and I was like, so I've gotten very good at trying. I mean, of course, life or universe puts me in a position where I'm telling someone, here I was standing with my brother-in-law, and he's lactose intolerant,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
But I was feeding him this water thing that had so much tamarind in it. While I'm eating, I'm telling him, why do you have to eat that when you have to pop a pill, like for lactose, right? Like something that he was eating that had milk in it. And then here I am putting in, I was like, oh my God, you hypocrite. It's like the universe tells you, like, there you are, right there.
Yeah.
Listen to yourself.
But I want to go back to something you mentioned before about praying around the food and the energy.
Absolutely.
And when I was away doing retreats, that was something that was instilled in us
Hmm.
because we had to do seva. So some of us would be in the kitchen doing seva, and seva is serving.
Yeah.
That's the word. They believe that we all are here to serve and everybody helps out at a retreat. But it was so important that your thoughts had, if you don't have anything good to say, don't say anything at all.
Yeah.
Right. And that can be
Don't think
so
either.
right.
Because
Right.
energy, it gets in your
Everything.
cells. Mhm.
So think of all the think of when you go to restaurants, right? What attitude is the chef in?
Mhm.
He's not thinking, oh, he's like, oh my God, hurry up, hurry up.
Absolutely. And the server, you
Yeah,
know,
everybody.
yeah, where the food came from in the truck, they brought it. What was the farmer thinking when he was, the helpers or whatever, trying to cut the plants or all that, it gets into that. And so when you pray, and that's why most of the times when I'm cooking, I'm listening to some chanting or mantras, or I'm just singing, or I'm enjoying laughing and things like that. So you
Yeah,
don't necessarily have to listen to mantras or prayers and things, but it could be anything, something that brings you joy.
yeah,
um, and many times, like as a mom, you're in rush all the time.
all the time.
Oh my God, and you're rushing kids. I mean, I'm so happy that 2020 happened. The pickup drop off activities kind of just, oh my God.
And we were given permission to say, no, I
Yeah.
can't do that today. Yeah.
Oh God, yes. And
Yeah.
so that really helped and calmed down the nerves, right? Because you're always in a rush. And so you're coming back, you want to do good to your family, right? Cook good home cooked food, and but yet you're angry, you're upset that this person's not helping, and I'm rushing, and I have another thing to do. It's like we pile on so many things
We
in within
do.
4 hours, and so, but so just kind of take a breath, and and say you are upset while you're doing it, and you realize you have that awareness. Step back and just take a deep breath in, and then change that moment, and and start, smile even
Mhm.
if you don't want to smile. So there are some of the things that you can do to kind of step back and really take a pause and see, be aware what's
Yeah.
happening around you and what your thoughts are, what your feelings are. It's how is your energy? Are you tight? Are your
Mm.
muscles and everything tight? Your throat and like your stomach is tight and like you're angry. What's happening with your energy? And so that is very important too, because that's what's going into the food. And then
Yeah.
um, when kids eat it, your husband, your family eats it, sometimes, most of the time that energy gets into them. They get anxious, they get upset. They're not able to sleep, maybe if it's not so profound as they're upset, but
Mhm.
that energy stays within them.
And then so many times people even notice that they don't feel good, that they need Tums, their stomach is upset, right? So was it the energy that went into the food that we ate? And so Joyce is saying it's an interesting conversation. Sounds like she needs to give up eating. So sometimes we're told, don't eat this, don't eat that. And it's a mind shift, right? Because there really are a ton of other foods we can eat.
Right.
So what would be some other things that we can eat besides the ones that are, and can you give a list? Of course, it's so individual, right? We can't just say, don't eat this, eat that.
Exactly.
Because I know some diet programs, some nutrition programs say we'll eat beans and eat legumes. But then I noticed those were really gassy for me.
Mhm.
Um, but yet they're good for some people. So what would you say to somebody who is like, oh my God, what can I eat?
Right. Joyce, I appreciate your comment, right? At one point, that's how I felt like, oh my God, I can't eat anything. Like, what am I? And I'm vegan, almost vegan, right? And,
And you have kids.
and I have kids, right? And it's like, what do well, my kids are vegetarian, so they do, we've eliminated dairy so much because that's one of the thing causes mucus, right? The
Mm.
cough producing agent. And so very bad for asthma. So that's one thing
And
we,
sinus stuff. Yeah.
and what milk really caused for me is the acid reflux.
Mhm.
And because I guess it was mucus causing, and it's just, it wouldn't sit well in my stomach, and or just going down the esophagus. It's like inflamed and want to come up, right? So personally, when I see clients, I talk about adding in food than taking out, because it depends on what you concentrate on, right? So
Mhm.
if you're thinking about taking it out, oh my God, you'll want it, right? I mean, we all, right? We're emotional being. I
Yeah.
personally am an emotional eater. And so I have to keep my mind in check, right? I'm like, oh, anything happy? Oh, I'm eating. Sad, I'm eating. My sister is an emotional starver, and that's how she functions. It's like, you can be that extreme. So, but with the food, I think it's all about trial and error and what works for you, what doesn't work for you.
Mm.
So if you eliminate something, say you have a feeling that once you start adding in, see, with the kids, that's how I did, right? that I started adding in a green smoothie or red smoothie in the morning. And so I put ginger root, I put turmeric root, I add in um, dandelion leaves, and something that we had never tried before, right? Kale. Dandelion leaves are very diuretic, meaning, you will eliminate excess water in your body. Um, then started adding rainbow chards. So you have all these minerals and vitamins and for the day, right? And the berries, antioxidant, you need. So color. I love to add colors on in my house. If you come, every room and every corner has a different color. Yeah, it's an explosion of colors in the house. And that's how it is. And so the food you eat, so add those things. And, I said, okay, just one glass of this, then you can eat whatever you want to eat. That's how I started with them. And when they started drinking that, they were full. They didn't want anything else. So that would be our breakfast. And, but once you add in, like, so even the white rice, moving into brown rice. So if I take 1 cup of white rice, I would just add like a handful of brown rice in it. And then eventually it was 1 cup of brown rice and just handful of white rice. In the same way with quinoa, I started adding brown rice once I made shift. Of course, so it's 6 months down the road, right?
Right.
But
Right.
slowly and steadily, because it's like, you know, but every person is different, even in the family. So if you're trying to make that shift and change, you have to watch what everybody, how they feel. With gluten, the oils that you use. And if you reheat the food, is that oil okay to reheat the oil? Like, um, olive oil, and you probably know more than I do, but some are only for sauteing or, not sauteing, like just for the salads and things. You can't heat it at certain temperature. So I use avocado oil because you can heat it at a higher temperature with vegetables and things. So you have to watch out. I don't know if that answers your question, but
It does.
process.
Yeah.
It's trial and error. So you eliminate gluten for say 2-3 weeks and see how you start feeling. The period of that first few days, 4 or 5 days, it's like you'll feel kind of down. You want things and all that. But once you pass that 5, 6 day, 4 or 5 days, that's when it kind of, you'll start noticing difference and change. So there
Yeah.
has to be that period of adjustment. And then after 3, 4 weeks, you start adding in, maybe have one bite, and then you'll see how your body reacts to see whether that's what's bothering you.
Right. Right. Yeah. And this can really help with physical pain. It can help with all kinds of things, your
Absolutely.
energy levels. Yeah. I know for me, sometimes when I start detoxing, I get headaches and stuff. So there's things that can help through that.
So you just need to drink lots of water again. You're just trying to eliminate these things, right? And
Right.
so
Right.
you can, yeah, there are other ways without taking medication, because again, now you're introducing medication in your body, and that's like it's masking. You
Yeah.
want to see what's happening to you. You want to write down what's happening to you. Another thing, a thought just came, is that if you're detoxing, then there is a different, so you also have the colon cleanse is very important first when you're detoxing, because if your colon is clogged up, you have constipation, you're not able to eliminate things, then when you're detoxing your liver and kidney and all that, it has no way out.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you want to kind of follow that process and making sure that, and sometimes too much fiber for some people is not good either.
Right. Right.
Even,
It's really,
yeah, so it's
yeah.
always trial and error, it's personal. We all are unique.
Yeah.
And so the word bio individuality is something that the Institute of or Institute of Nutrition talks about, that we all are unique, and you have to see what works for you, what doesn't work for you.
Mhm.
When, once I started this Dr. Mark Hyman's 10-day detox process, my husband also started doing that. I am vegan, so I don't eat eggs and stuff. So I have only plant-based protein in me, but he was eating that. And all of a sudden he started gout-like symptoms because too much protein and his body couldn't uh,
Oh,
process it. So you have to see the same diet.
interesting. Yeah.
He had just eggs in his diet because he eats eggs. And so too much protein for him that he couldn't process. So we both were doing the same thing. He said he tagged along, I'll do it. So you have to watch out when you are doing something and then your loved one joins you. So you have to
Mm.
really, mhm.
Pay attention to the results you're getting. Yeah.
What is making you gassy, bloaty, all those
Yeah.
things.
And you talked about constipation
Yeah.
years ago. When I started learning something called Bowen therapy, I started asking people, like, how often do you move your bowels? I was amazed. Some people would say once a week,
I
twice
know.
a week. And I'm like,
Yeah.
honey, you eat 3 times a day. Where's that going? That
Yeah.
creates toxicity in the body. And it's a cesspool,
It's a
really.
backup, right? It backs up into your system and that toxicity, not
Yeah,
all the organs are
right.
affected by it. Someone I had remember one doctor saying that if you have bowel movement only once a day, you're constipated. You
Yeah.
should be able to go have a
Three
bowel
times.
movement after every meal.
I heard
And I
that
was
too.
like, wow. Yeah, that was the first time. It was an eye opener. And I was like, have people who don't go to the bathroom for a week.
I know. It's amazing.
They're like, oh, that's how my system is. No, something's wrong. You need to fix that system.
And I remember one client, she came back and she was like, I started going more often and I felt like I had to go, which was a new feeling, a new sensation in her body. Like constipation's a big deal.
Yeah.
It's a really big deal.
I remember someone, a loved one, and I don't want to say who, but um, he'll come and eat sometimes. It's like, oh my God, I don't like eating your food. Every time I eat your food, I have to go to the bathroom after that. And I was like, what's wrong with that? It's good. You're taking out all the stuff that you need to, but no. Like that's something different for them and something changed for them. It's like I already
Yes.
went once in the morning. I don't need to go again.
It
So,
becomes such a habit, such a pattern,
right?
right? Like we're not changing it. Yeah, and Joyce is a farmer actually. Has amazing gardens, so she never thought about the emotions having an effect on the food you grow and when you prepare it. Um, and in the past raised her own meat. So yeah, she did it all.
Yeah. And so if you have music around the animals, you have music around the plants, I'm telling you, they grow vibrant, their emotions are happy emotions, right? I
Yeah,
mean, depending
yeah,
on what music you listen to, but yeah, mostly it's that,
yeah.
happy uplifting. So energy works too, like with Reiki, if I have sometimes, my plants, I'm not good at watering plants. And so sometimes I'm like sitting next to the plant, I'm sorry, but I'm sending energy and it flowers,
Yeah,
when
it's
you give it
great.
attention and love.
So thank you, Hemali, for all this information. And I also thought, I know you have another project that you're working on. You are a well-rounded and amazing individual.
Yeah.
And we got to know each other because we were authors in the
First book.
first volume of
Yeah.
The Ultimate Guide to Self-Healing Techniques. And so now you've taken on your own project. So for anybody out there listening, if you are a writer, um, or even would like to take a first step at becoming a writer. So Hemali, share what your project is.
Well, last year I kind of was called into end of life doula course, and so I'm certified in that. So death is something that I want to talk loudly about, and we've seen in 2020, 2021 so much around us. And so this project is called Sacred Death, 25 healing tools for caregivers I am really passionate about caregivers and healthcare workers and healers. We give so much of our everything, right? Our life to other people helping. And so I want these healing tools for people that are supporting someone, loved ones or clients during their last stages, or they have passed away. So with grief, with loss. So that's some of the things, I'm looking into. Or animals too, someone who is a animal whisperer, healer,
Mhm,
or end
mhm.
of life doulas.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
And if anybody out there listening, whether it's you or you know somebody, please feel free to share this and connect them with Hemali. And Hemali, feel free in the group to just leave information. And how can people get a hold of you?
You can reach me on my Facebook page. I think that might be better. It's Coach Hemali. So facebook.com/Coach Hemali. And I will respond as soon as I hear from you.
And also feel free to leave that video that you posted about your son,
Oh,
about food. I think people would get such a kick out of that.
I loved it. His teacher picked him for a reason for that poem. It's Food, I think, by Silverstein. And because the teacher knew what I do. And so she thought that he would be great doing that.
It
Yeah.
was very well written, a poem about food and what to avoid.
Yeah.
It's great. It's a great, great film. So thank you, Hemali. This has been fabulous. And Shelly's here. Thank you, Shelly, for joining us. Yes, so everybody have a great day and connect with Hemali. And Hemali, thank you again for being here.
Thank you so much for having me here. And I love your daily self-love videos, really.
Thank you.
All right.
Have a
Bye.
great day, everybody.
Bye.